Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Live with Virginia NORML. I'm J.M. Padini, the Development Director for the National Organization for the Reform of Marijuana Laws and the Executive Director of your favorite chapter, Virginia NORML. It's Friday, November 4th, 2022, and that means it's time for us to talk all things cannabis in the Commonwealth and answer your burning questions live. Let's take a look and see who's here. Hey, MD, good to see you. Hey, friends, take a second and drop a comment in the chat. Let us know where you're watching from this week and what your questions are. Hey, elections are happening, and in most places of the country, you can vote early. Have you already voted? Let us know that in the comments too, because we're going to help you make a plan to vote if you haven't already. Hey, Fonz, good to see you. Good to see you, friends. All right. Speaking of voting, we want to make sure you are as informed as possible when you head to the ballot box. So if you haven't yet, please check out NORML's Smoke the Vote voter guide so you can see who's on your ballot and where they stand on cannabis policy before you vote for them. Easy peasy, right? Cassie's going to drop the link to that. Oh, can already see it in the chat right now for you. Hey, Heidi. Good to see you. Hey, Tom. Welcome back, friend. Love to see it. Love to see it that Tom already voted. Good on you. I hope you're helping everyone else make their plan to vote as well. November 8th, that's Tuesday, is election day. If you want to know if you're registered to vote, if your voter registration information is up to date, find your polling place, see what else is on your ballot, and check out what's on other ballots in other states as it relates to cannabis policy. You can check out NORML Election Central. That's at norml.org/election, and it's got everything you need to know, including links to our voter guide and registration tool, to stay up to date on all things marijuana midterms. That's what we call them, and that's what's happening right now. In Virginia, you're voting on your representative in Congress. It really matters when it comes to changing federal cannabis policy, and then in other areas of the country. And in some cities, in different states, they're voting on local and state level marijuana issues. Of course, we're not voting on that in Virginia because it's Virginia. Also, we already legalized it. Hey, Rick, how are you doing? Oh, Rick, I am so pleased that you reported something on Smoke the Vote. Cassidy and I can take a look at that. I think that if you use the reporting tool on the website, it is probably reviewed by an intern. And thank you so much for sending us that information. We'll take a look and see if what you submitted is enough for us to make that update. We do require citations. That's how we are. Hey, friends. So next week, huge election. Everyone get ready to vote. Make sure you're voting. And then after that, the following week is MJ BizCon. It's in Vegas. And do you want to go? Oh, well, here's a discount code if you do. Friends, I'd love to see you at MJ BizCon. NORML will be there, represented by yours truly, and we will be at Associations Day, which is on Tuesday the 15th, and then I will be speaking again on Friday the 18th on a panel discussion regarding the Mid-Atlantic markets. Thanks for dropping that link in there, Cassidy and/or Ben, whoever did it. Thank you, Rick, for providing an email from someone's campaign office. Hey, Rick, why don't you go ahead and forward the email that you got from that office directly? Just send it to me and Cassidy at chapters@normal.org, and then we can just use that as a citation. Hey, David. I'm great. How are you? Thanks for stopping by. Hey, wherever you're watching, take a quick second to hit that like, follow, or subscribe button so that you never miss when Normal goes live. And we do it every week. We tell you all the things you want to know. All right. Hi, Lance. I'm so happy to see you. Lance is doing some serious work in Missouri. Lance helped legalize medical cannabis in Missouri, and now Missouri on Tuesday is poised to become the first Midwestern state to legalize adult use. I know you all are going to get it done out there, Lance. Can't wait for that big win. Can't wait to see lots of big wins rolling across the country, both for the ballot initiatives, the local efforts, and for candidates who really support ending marijuana prohibition. Thanks to you, Lance, and thanks to all of you who are helping us get this work done here at Normal. Hey, Michael, good to see you. Oh, I love your comment, Michael. Thanks so much for sharing this. Yeah, local politicians and candidates, of course, are canvassing. They'll be at the polls also on election day. And I'm really glad you took opportunity, Michael, to talk to your delegate when they knocked on your door to talk about legalization and lack of regulatory oversight in Virginia. Appreciate that, friend. Appreciate that. Hey, let's talk about some other stuff from Virginia. So this week, the Cannabis Control Authority released some survey data, and it was a standard. The Cannabis Control Authority itself didn't conduct this survey. A company that specializes in conducting surveys executed this task for the state, and they asked questions regarding Virginians' thoughts, positions, perspectives, attitudes. That's the word we're looking for. Attitudes regarding cannabis consumption and driving. And I don't disagree with the characterization that these attitudes are pretty unsettling. So 23% of survey respondents, and there was a survey size of 750, which is a pretty standard survey size, but they asked 750 people, and 23% of them reported using cannabis in the past 3 months. And that's really high, if I may say. So it's pretty high number. 23% is pretty high. And roughly 14% of those people that were surveyed said they had driven high a few times or more in the past year. Whew. That's stupid. Alarmingly, almost 1/3 of them, the people surveyed, believe that marijuana makes them a safer driver. Listen, it's one thing to compare cannabis to alcohol and its impacts on driving. It's another thing to just, make bad choices. And friends, you shouldn't drive impaired for any reason. It doesn't matter what the substance or reason is, you shouldn't drive impaired. Full stop. Now, I did definitely appreciate that when Cannabis Control Authority broke down this survey information, and I've heard them do it a few times now at different presentations to different groups within the state legislature or agencies. I did appreciate that they spoke to how some people may be responding from the point of they use medical cannabis and they feel like now they are able to live their lives and they are able to function. It controls their seizures, and so there may be that scope of individuals who feel like because they are using it for medical purposes, they are able to go about living their lives. However, let's go back to that 14% that said they drove high. Yeah, don't do that. Come on. The survey findings also show that Virginians do not perceive marijuana impaired driving to be nearly as dangerous or as other risky behaviors are. So 60% of survey respondents said that texting and driving, and 49% said alcohol impaired driving to be extremely dangerous. Only 26% of Virginians view marijuana impaired driving as extremely dangerous. So pretty interesting. I talked to a number of media outlets about this after the fact, and what I said is that because it's the question that was asked, and I thought it was kind of a strange question, like should these survey findings keep the legislature from moving forward with adult use regulation? Absolutely not. They shouldn't be a deterrent toward implementing retail access. Adult use marijuana laws have consistently been associated with few changes in traffic safety, and at the end of the day, it's still a really important step in the path to legalization in Virginia. We did some of the really big parts with legalizing possession, personal cultivation, even adult sharing, but we haven't legalized adult use retail access yet, and that continues to put consumers at risk. So, got to finish the job. But also, oh my gosh, where's my son? Oh, there it is. Whew, that's what's missing. It's time to put back the sign that Sherry made. Make good choices. Don't drive high. That's not only illegal, but it's incredibly irresponsible. There we go. Whew, now it'll be there when I need it. Thank you, Bonds. You're not wrong. Oh, hey, please ban that weirdo who's trying to solicit friend requests. Thanks. Whew. So, thank you. I see that happened. What kind of random made up name is that? So, yeah, this survey was done a little earlier, but the findings came out in the past week, and lots of reporting around that. Now, additionally, I talked to the Center Square this week, and this article has been heavily syndicated. Marijuana remains in legal gray area 16 months after Virginia legalization. Wow, it's been 16 months already. Thanks for doing that math for me, Tyler. And generally, it takes a state about 18 months to get from legalization to retail sales. And you can see we're way behind the 8 ball on that now. Good job, Virginia legislature. Nothing like continuing to create safe haven and opportunity for illicit operators. Good times. Please don't send me your sob stories about your friend who grows weed and supplies you with it. That's not what the unregulated market is in Virginia. A $1.8 billion annually industry is not your friend who gets you weed. It's organized crime. Someone really did send me an email about that, and I was like, I mean, I get what you're saying, but I don't think you understand it from the policy perspective, perhaps. Anyway, Virginia had one of the nation's largest illicit markets prior to legalization. In fact, it was ranked 4th in the nation, valued at $1.8 billion in 2020. But again, until the legislature and the Youngkin administration, and it's not just the legislature, the administration has to agree as well, until they can come to some sort of agreement, find peace in the valley on a bill that regulates adult use, the Commonwealth will continue ceding control of its marijuana market to unregulated criminal enterprises. That's not how you provide for public safety, friends. Anyhow. Joshua. Oh, that's comical, friends. But listen, at least we have, um, we allow personal cultivation in Virginia. We allow adults to share with each other. So we have some good components to our legalization bill here in Virginia that did take effect, and that's important. Funds, yeah, there are probably a lot more DUI related accidents, but I don't have numbers on that. Feel free to let me know. I did have to go down the rabbit hole this week on DUI and DUID laws, which are arguably by and large the same here in Virginia. They're in the same code sections. That was fun. Michael, let me read your question. Pennsylvania has 151 dispensaries, 151 medical dispensaries. Virginia has 13. Why? Oh, yes, I do know why. And does this concern me? Yes, it's concerned us from the beginning. So we really set out on the path to progress, at least the path to medical cannabis access in Virginia in 2015. In 2015, we passed the first portion of this, which was an allowance, basically an affirmative defense. So still illegal, but you got a piece of paper that you could not be prosecuted if the judge wanted to accept it in 2015. And then we came back in 2016 and started the work on regulating medical cannabis production and retail in the state, because really in 2015 they were like, well, we're done. And it was like, that's cute. We can't say the policy solution is interstate drug trafficking. We have to sell the product here in Virginia. So we got to work on that. They required us to go through a 2-year process. We had to pass the legislation, have a work group, and then bring the proposed policies back in 2017 and have those passed, which we did. And the governor at the time was McAuliffe, a Democrat, but the legislature itself was controlled by Republicans. And that's why we have this model. Despite purportedly being the party of free market, it was said party that mandated a requirement of vertical integration. So everything happens under one license. There aren't different types of licenses. There's one. You do everything. And was comfortable putting these really high barriers to entry in place. Also, it was originally limited to just one processor, one company, period, per health service area, one location. 5 dispensaries for the entire state was their initial proposal. And again, they were like, we're done. Now, once the majority shifted, we were able to come back and say, hey, 5 sites is not enough for 8.5 million people. So how about we just allow these existing licensees to have some extra satellite locations. So they have their one major location where they cultivate and do all of that. They also dispense, but then they are also able to have 5 additional retail only locations, which a few years later then become cannabis dispensing facilities and aren't called pharmaceutical anything, because that was stupid language. But it's what conservatives at that time were emotionally comfortable with. So yeah, MD, thanks for asking. And that's why, because that's what the legislature mandated. So we'll have a bill. We're proposing a bill, anyhow, for the 2023 session to add additional medical dispensaries. Will the divided legislature agree that the number of locations we have is inadequate for the state? That remains to be seen. Fun fact, Rhode Island has more dispensaries than Virginia. Oh, I like calling you insulin type 1. Hey, insulin type 1, you're right. People are impaired while they're driving for a variety of reasons. It's not typically cannabis. That's pretty low on the list. But, something that really does impair driving, in addition to, a boatload of other over the counter and prescription medications, is having another person in the car, or being under a certain age, or being male, or talking on the phone, or listening to the radio. So there are a lot of things that impair driving, but we're super hung up on weed. Still, don't drive high. It's stupid and irresponsible and illegal. Yeah, Rick. So Rick brings up a point, because seeds are, Rick says cultivation is legal, but seeds are illegal. That's not stupid at all. Well, and to this point, Rick, it's because of the definition of marijuana. The definition of marijuana in Virginia includes the word seeds. Now, the DEA has since ruled that it considers seeds to be hemp because seeds do not contain THC. This doesn't de facto or automatically change the law in Virginia, but it makes it a little bit easier to do so. I expect to see some really ham-fisted attempts at allowing the sale of seeds, but really, hey, anyone out there who's watching and thinking they can write a bill about this, what you need to do is remove the word seeds from the definition of marijuana and not spin your wheels with some kooky licensing or allowance structure. Just pull the word out of the definition. But thanks for bringing that up, Rick. Yeah, so insulin is bringing up exactly what I said. So it's not since the last Farm Bill, it's since the recent DEA ruling that they consider seeds to be hemp, but that does not change, that DEA ruling does not change state law. You still have to change state law. Oh, Steve, right? It sucks. I don't think it's a pathetic joke, but I think that the politics behind it are 100% pathetic. The politics behind not advancing a retail bill, that's lazy, it's selfish, it's incompetent. Democrats should have done this in 2021, and they didn't, because there was a belief that there was some political expediency in kicking the can down the road for another year. Wow, how'd that turn out for everyone? And then in 2022, the House and the Senate were too busy taking political cracks at each other to, focus on things that Virginians are actually concerned about, like a raging illicit market that puts consumers at risk, or the simple fact that marijuana is legal and there are stores that sell it that are licensed by the state, but you can't shop there unless you're a patient. Yeah, the stupid does hurt. The stupid really does hurt, Steve. Friends, the way to combat stupid is by voting. Now, we're not voting for statewide candidates in this Tuesday election, but we will be voting for statewide candidates next year. Make good choices, just like the sign says. But no, Joshua, I do not. I absolutely do not. Hey, MD, thanks for bringing that up. So, yes, I am waiting on the executed contract to come back from the hotel, but we have settled on the Virginia Cannabis Conference information. So 2023 Virginia Cannabis Conference will be, I have to open the calendar. Wait. The Virginia Cannabis Conference in 2023 is happening here in Richmond at the same hotel as last year, which is the Delta by Marriott, downtown Richmond. And it will be January 20th, 21st, and 22nd. the 23rd will be lobby day. So Friday the 20th will be a day for particularly people who are traveling from other areas of the state to check in, to come to the welcome reception, to get your badges, pick up your badges and all of that at the hotel on the 20th. We'll have the reception at the hotel that evening. Then the 21st will be the first full day of conference seminars and exhibition hall. That evening, Saturday the 21st, we will have the Commonwealth Green Gala, the inaugural Commonwealth Green Gala. And then the 22nd, we will resume with our second day of conference seminars and exhibition hall. Then Monday the 23rd, we will have lobby day at the Capitol. So you can come to the hotel for the lobby day launch. We'll have breakfast for you, and you'll be able to pick up your lobby day packets. You can take the shuttle from the hotel right up the hill to the Capitol, or you can walk. It's just 2-3 blocks. Other than it being cold and slightly uphill, it's a very short walk. And yeah, that's it. That's what's happening. We'll have some sort of, happy hour high fives on that Monday after lobby day, and then we'll do it all again the next year. Thanks for bringing that up, Michael. Oh, yeah, insulin. You're not wrong, and that is definitely a problem in northern. My God, is it a problem? But whatever. Like, people go to DC and buy from unregulated stores, and that's sketchy. But let's talk about, since you brought it up, let's talk about DC. The DC mayor signed legislation that not only raises cannabis possession limits for patients in DC, but also provides access for non-residents. So there's kind of two parts in motion here. Yes, we previously had reciprocity. Virginia patients previously had reciprocity in DC, meaning DC dispensaries would take your patient card, and they still will take your patient card. But now a lot of patients don't have cards because they're not required to. They just have the certificate. So we are still working with ABRA. That's the regulator in DC to get ABRA to accept the new certificate in place of the card. But additionally, the mayor signed legislation that allows non-residents to get get temporary cards. I think that's the way to say it. It's $30. It's 30 days. So you can do that in DC now, and then shop at an actual licensed dispensary in DC, as opposed to an unregulated store that gives you who knows what. I mean, maybe there's one you love and like, good for you. Not you personally, but one person who's watching. But hey, if you're visiting DC, friends from wherever, you can self-certify as a patient, get registered, and shop at a licensed dispensary in DC. Thanks, Mayor Bowser. Marcus, so this possessing seeds is not illegal. It's the retail sale of seeds. I should have specified that when we were discussing it earlier. It is the retail of seeds that is not legal in Virginia, because sale of cannabis outside of the medical program in Virginia is not yet legal. And because the definition of marijuana includes the word seeds, you can't sell seeds in Virginia. Joshua is asking me this question, and my answer to that is made up, that's a thing. Okay, you guys have excellent questions. Michael asks, do you feel practitioner prices for medical cannabis certifications are preventative for folks to enter the program? I do. I do think that In order for the practitioner to have a viable business, right, they have to charge a certain fee, and those fees are often out of reach for Virginians. It's like that all across the country. I mean, Virginia's medical cannabis program is not unique, nor are the prices that are charged for certifications. So the good news is if someone needs help, they can just reach out to us and we can help facilitate finding of a provider that can provide a low cost, no cost certification. Joshua. Just going to leave that up there for people to read. Virginia Cannabis Regulation Law Summary. Thanks, whoever posted that on YouTube. You should, from MPP, that's wrong. I'm sorry. Maybe it's not wrong. You should use ours instead. You should literally, when you're watching normal content, post normal content in the comments or in the citations, right? Because that's who we are. If you want an accurate summary of Virginia medical cannabis laws or Virginia legalization laws, you can find those on the Virginia NORML website at vanormal.org, or on the NORML website, though it's a little briefer than what we have on Virginia's. Ooh, Todd. Yes, there are multiple patents on cannabinoids. Why can't we challenge this federal? Why can't we challenge the Schedule 1 scheduling of cannabis at the federal level? We have challenged it multiple times. It has been challenged multiple times. It has undergone review multiple times. And in fact, President Biden has called for yet another review. A review is not a fast process, and it doesn't make Congress change the scheduling of cannabis. What has to happen? My colleague at NORML, Paul, has written extensively again about this in the past few weeks, post the Biden action. What has to happen is Congress has to pass legislation to remove marijuana from the Federal Controlled Substances Act. That's it. It can't be executive order. It's not going to be a legal challenge. It's going to be legislation that Congress passes. That's how we will end federal prohibition. There's no rescheduling. Moving marijuana to a different schedule doesn't accomplish what people think it may do. It doesn't, better facilitate research, of which we have an exorbitant amount. Marijuana is one of the most studied substances on Earth. So when you hear people saying, "Oh, but we need more research," that's your time to call bullshit. I don't know why this is the most random. Okay, two different things. First, I'm going to go with Fonz's question. Are Virginia patients now required to pay the $30 or? So that's kind of the conversation, Fonz, that we're in with ABRA right now is, sure, you could just pay the $30 and be good for 30 days in DC as a Virginia patient. What would be better for you as a Virginia patient is what would be better is to pay $50 and get the card and be done with it, because we know that ABRA accepts the card, and you could pay $50 once in Virginia and get the card and not have to pay $30 every 30 days in DC. But what we would like is for ABRA to accept this certificate, because we did add a place on the certificate for an identification number to be added by the practitioner, specifically added that for ABRA. So we're just waiting for ABRA to say if they're going to accept the certificate, which has a unique identifying number on it, which ABRA requires for their seed to sale tracking system. We literally added it just for that. Someone is asking me if it is public sex if you have sex in your front yard. It's probably a differently written code um, than than public place as it relates to cannabis. Um, I don't see I don't see these comments in a thread. I see them just one after the other. So there may be some context that I'm missing, but I presume you're asking about the definition of public, and public place is in fact defined in code and referenced again in the cannabis code section. And so generally what it means is a place that the public has access to. So, having people pay money to access your lounge or your event or calling something private doesn't make it private. In fact, what you're doing violates other provisions in law when you're having people pay you to then have access to that. Any transactions or sharing that occurs after that is then, for all intents and purposes, a reciprocal transaction, which is also illegal in Virginia cannabis law. So don't. If you want to share cannabis or consume cannabis with other people, do it at your house. You can do it in your backyard. If you own your backyard, you can do it in your backyard or your front yard. Consumption is legal for adults 21 and older on their property. It doesn't matter if people can see you. You can't give it to your friend in your front yard. No, wait, wait. No, you could do that. You could share it with people in your front yard also. You couldn't grow plants in your front yard if they were visible. That's slightly different than in public. That's public way. Anyhow, thanks for asking. Hey, MD, thanks for bringing this up. So Pharrell announced that he plans to bring his Something in the Water festival back to Virginia Beach. No, we did not go or have anything to do with it when it was here previously. Would we go in 2023? Possibly. Possibly. Yep. Yes, public consumption is not permissible in Virginia. Thank you. Here's one I can actually show. Is smoking on one's front yard, porch, patio considered public? No, because that is private property. It doesn't matter if you can, I think people conflate public place with view from a public way. So you can consume on your property. It doesn't matter if people can see you. It's your property. You can consume there, inside or out. If you're cultivating plants, your plants on your property cannot be visible from a public way. You cannot stand on the sidewalk in front of your house that you do not own and consume there. You can stand in your front yard or on your porch or patio and consume there. No, you can be seen. It doesn't matter. Yes, insulin type 1. Nevada has approved consumption venues. You're welcome. Oh, good. I'm glad you had a good experience at Capitol Care in DC, Michael. I'm glad that we're comparing the sight of smoking cannabis to having sex in public. Kimberly, thanks for asking this question. Kimberly wants to know how much harvested cannabis you can have at your house. Not the plants, but how much can you have? You can have whatever you have. You can have, if you legally cultivated it or you purchased it legally and it is for your personal use, you can have it at home. There is no amount specified. You're welcome. I don't know why we would need to specify an amount for this reason. Possession of any amount of cannabis with intent to distribute is illegal. Now, if you aren't possessing it with the intent to distribute, it doesn't matter. So you're fine, Kimberly, as long as it's for personal use and as long as you keep it, out of reach by those who are not allowed to access it, which is anyone under 21. Okay, this is a whole lot of comments coming in from YouTube that are very entertaining. I'm gonna pop back over here and take a look at this script that Cassidy and Ben put together for me, and I'm supposed to tell you these things. So, hey, remember how we talked about G-Leaf was supposed to open a dispensary in Midlothian, and Midlothian cried some big fat crocodile tears because marijuana's federally illegal, and they were like, no, we can't issue you a building permit because it's federally illegal. And then we were like, I mean, except for that part, where medical cannabis, state sanctioned medical cannabis operations are explicitly protected under state law, under federal law. And they were like, doesn't matter, federal law. I only like this federal law where it's illegal. We were like, whatever, buddy. So they had an appeal and they denied it. So if you live in Midlothian, I hope you like driving to Short Pump. It's only 40 minutes, whatever. Or I hope you like driving to Manchester or Carytown. Carytown's probably the closest for you now, Chesterfield friends, or really anyone who lives in the other parts of Central Virginia. Enjoy driving to Richmond. Because Chesterfield, despite so you should read the Richmond Biz Sense article, but what I'll tell you, aside from being the truth, is not what's in this article. The quotes from counsel for Midlothian say, "Oh, this isn't political. This is just because of a zoning ordinance that we have," even though all they would have to do is grant a variance. They're not granting a variance. Instead, they're stamping their feet and going to, potentially going to court over it. They're stamping their feet and saying that it's not political. It's just, just because of federal law. Except it is entirely political, right? I've had plenty of people who work in Chesterfield County government reach out to me with their sentiments as to exactly why this is happening. So cute story, bro, but Chesterfield chief of police really doesn't like the marijuanas. So I guess they want to just continue creating this safe haven for illicit operators in Chesterfield. Maybe they like kids to, eat weird fake packaged products. Better keep that open in your municipality. Oh. All right. Hey, the Carter Project. What are we voting for this week? Generally for legalization or for candidates who support legalization. You should go to vote.normal.org and see who's on your ballot and where they stand on cannabis policy before you vote. I mean, if that's the thing you're into, I'm going to assume it is because you're watching this show. You're kidding, Michael, but you're not kidding. Hey, Insulin. Insulin is asking, can they charge you with PWID, possession with intent to distribute, if you have, say, like 5 different chemobars under an ounce in different bags? What are you doing with it? Are you at home? No. If you're at home, then store your legally cultivated or legally obtained cannabis for personal use appropriately, and it's legal. Don't walk down the street with 5 different 1-ounce bags. Don't walk down the street with 5 different bags. Don't drive around with 5 different bags. These are not making good choices. If it looks like PWID, that's how you get charged with PWID. Going to a party. Yeah, just, look, conveniently, if you have to travel with cannabis for some reason, in Virginia, our law is written as if adult use dispensaries are operational, and they're not. So the best way to comport with state law and make it clear that you are not driving with an open container is to put any cannabis products that for some reason you have to transport in your vehicle, and this includes your medical cannabis products that you bought at a dispensary, is to put them in a container that locks. This is an example of a container that locks. We have this case that has the combination lock right here. You set it. You put the locked container in the trunk of your vehicle. If your vehicle doesn't have a trunk, you put it behind your last row of passenger seating, well out of reach of the driver, to make it perfectly clear that you are not driving with an open container. We have this in our Facebook shop. We also have a bag, like a pouch version, that's bigger. You can put more in. It comes with it has a combination lock, just like this case. You can lock it up. It's smell proof as long as you don't get stuff on the outside of it. Put it in your trunk or behind the last row of passenger seating. The best way to avoid law enforcement interactions with cannabis is not to have it in your car. If you have to drive with cannabis in your car in Virginia, lock it up and put it in the trunk or behind the last row of passenger seating if your car doesn't have a trunk. Thanks for asking. Okay. What's the combination number? Oh, you set your own combination. There's a little piece of paper that comes with it that tells you how to set your combination. Speaking of things that are in our Facebook shop, you should make good choices, friends. And I don't know, buy some fun things for the holidays. So we had a bunch of fun stuff for Halloween. Spoiler alert, it's still in there. Like this spooky ashtray. You can still get this in our Facebook shop. We don't have a lot of them, so if you want one, now is a good time to buy it and either be goth all year or save it for next year. Maybe you love pumpkins year round and you want this handy little silicone container that you can put whatever in. That's also in our Facebook shop. So is this spoopy little ghost pin. But let's bridge the gap. Let's bridge the gap from Halloween to the rest of the winter and fall and winter holidays. So we did put this. This is a lighter. It is empty. You will have to fill it yourself. We are not shipping lighters with lighter fluid to you. But we do have this. If you're sick of Halloween candy, how about some candy that's not fattening at all? It's a lighter. It's empty, but you can refill it. This is in our Facebook shop now, and so are these little tiny acorn silicone containers. The lid comes off, and you can put stuff in it. How cute is that for your fall festivities, friends? That was some alliteration there. Those things are all in our Facebook shop. So are awesome things like clinical applications for cannabis and cannabinoids, a review of the recent scientific literature. This is available in the Virginia NORML Facebook shop. It's also available in the NORML web store at store.norml.org, and it is available in ebook form in the Kindle shop on Amazon. Thank you, Joshua. I appreciate that. The acorn is, in fact, where it's at. And cousin of the acorn in this context, cousin of the acorn is hamburger. Hamburger is also available. And with hamburger, you can change the order of your toppings. So you make your burger however you want. Fun things in the Facebook shop. for you, friends, that do not violate the terms of use for the Facebook shop. Something that we cannot put in our Facebook shop is this, and I'm only going to show you the back of it so that I don't have any of our video pulled. But how fun would this be to have for Thanksgiving? Yes, Thanksgiving. We've got your Thanksgiving answers right here. I think we're going to just put these on the website, and then you'll need to be 21 or older to purchase that. But yeah, or you can come by the office and buy it in person. Thanks for loving the acorn, Joshua, and the hamburger. Thank you. And the acorn, another vote for acorn. It just sounds like a challenge. Vote right now in the comments, hamburger emoji or acorn emoji. I'll also accept squirrel. I think the acorn is technically a chestnut now. Go in the comments. Which is your favorite, hamburger or nut? MD's just going to shout leaf broach over and over. Your votes don't count. So far, acorn is winning. It's not for leftovers at Thanksgiving. It's not a paperweight. You guys are the best. I love it. All right. I told you about all the things. The last thing I want to tell you about while you all keep voting, I love it. I love it. I love it. We're going to have tally up acorn versus hamburger. I hope you're counting Cassidy and Ben, because I'm going to need a final score at the end. Who wins, acorn or hamburger? Ooh, Hamburglar's catching up. All right, listen. So on Monday, you all may have heard us discuss the task force, which has generally been called the hemp task force, but now it has magically some super long name. It is now called Task Force to Analyze Industrial Hemp Extracts and Other Substances Containing Tetrahydrocannabinol Intended for Human Consumption. That task force is meeting Monday. Now, the task force was supposed to have already provided a report to the General Assembly, but my understanding is they're going to propose report of recommendations, I suppose, forward on Monday. It is in the Capitol, but you can stream it online. It's a very small room in the Capitol. You can go in person if you want. I think it's at 11. I don't know. Acorn versus burger. It's close. It's close. I'm gonna let Ben and Cassidy total it up, and they're gonna dump the comment. They're gonna let us know in the comments. Is this vegan? I hope so. It's silicone. MD, you saw these at Pride. What? What if it has THCA in it? What are you talking about? Are you asking me about? Oh, no, it's not about genetically modified yeast. This task force is supposed to be looking at the products that are widely available in Virginia that aren't regulated and that call themselves hemp or CBD or Delta whatever. And that's all well and good. You would literally have no idea what's in it because these products aren't regulated. So this task force is supposed to be looking at this problem and providing some policy recommendations. We'll see what their recommendations are. Some of the recommendations that I've heard so far come straight from, industry talking points. That seems lazy, but we'll find out. Have they ever been in a GNC? Yeah, same thing. Yes, health supplements are not generally regulated in the United States. That's what the GNC quip is about. But I think it's different when you set things on fire and inhale them. And there probably ought to be some measure of consumer safety that is not dictated by the amount of THC. The amount of THC in a product is not the arbiter of the need for consumer safety, right? It's all the same plant and it's all consumed in the same manners. We don't say, oh, well, medical cannabis has really high, consumer safety standards, but adult use, put all the pesticide on it you want. I mean, I get it. People want to make a buck now, and certainly they are. But our work is specific to consumer safety and consumer rights. And you as consumers have the right to know what you're buying. I know that when, what do I have in front of me? I have this tube of lotion. The ingredients are on here, and I don't read this and go, yeah, that's probably not what's in it. There's truth in advertising requirements. There's labeling and packaging requirements. And the fact that that more of those exist for hand lotion, as opposed to then for things that you set on fire and inhale in Virginia, is absurd. Consumers deserve to know what they're buying, and that's just not the case today. So, and there's some argument being made out there that like, oh, well, it's low in THC, so they don't need the same consumer protections. Oh, right, I forgot, because THC is the only thing we're concerned about. That sounds stupid. Yes, there is a genetically modified yeast that they have used yeast to produce a variety of cannabinoids. Yep. Yeah, other states, especially states that have gone earlier, have different testing protocols for different products and in different silos, like adult use versus medical. That's also stupid. I've had enough this week, so we're just going to use dumb words like stupid. Oh, hey, Ruth Ann. I still think the answer is no, Ruth Ann. I don't believe that you are required to produce the identification. I do not believe that to be the case. I'm looking at the code right now to look at it to see if there's no. A patient, or if such patient is a minor, blah, 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 such. Oh, no, that's the. No is the answer. No is the answer. I do have that sitting right here on my notepad, though, where I comically wrote that down last week. Ask Cannabis, Virginia Beach, Ari. Ruth Ann's question. You're welcome. I'm still going to check with Cannabis about that, Ruth Ann. I think we hear a lot of issues that happen like at the counter that has to do with the employee, not with actual policy. So I don't recall if you emailed us, but if you didn't, please do. That helps Cassidy and me remember to follow up. You can email us both at the same time by using chapters@normal.org. If we have an FDA, why not a CDA at the federal level? How about not? Let's just we have it at the state level. Like the federal government just needs to get out of the way and let states continue setting their own policies for marijuana free from federal interference. Like they do for medical, they need to do it holistically for adult use. I mean, the Cole memo is essentially back in effect, and the federal government isn't stepping in and like interfering with state sanctioned cannabis operations. But yeah, they just need to ease on down the road. All right. Well, that's something. Okay. This has been delightful as ever, friends. I appreciate all of you who show up and have these great conversations with us every week. Hey, Cassidy, Ben, who counted burgers and acorns? Do it. Do it. Someone do it. Someone do it. Or someone else can count. MD, I know you're still watching. So count us those burgers and acorns. I want to know. I'm trying to, I can set up a poll. I could, but I'm not. Oh, I'm counting. I think it's a tie. I counted 5 for each. Oh, I have a private chat. That's probably Cassidy telling burgers. There it is. Cassidy's the judge. Cassidy says burgers win. Burgers win. I'm sorry, Acorn. I didn't have to bring burger into the equation. And then I invited them just like, hey, you can be fall stuff also. Really, the true test will be your orders from the Facebook shop. You should probably get both. And you can have your own poll at home. Oh my goodness. Hello, Jessica in Mississippi. Thanks for joining us. I'm sorry, we're ending the show now. Jessica's here. Everyone go home. All right, this has been great. And it's been a really long show because you all had a lot of awesome questions. But hey, guess what? We're going to do it all again next week on the 11th, which is, according to my calendar, Veterans Day. Hey, everyone. I hope that you have a super fantastic weekend. Please hit that like, follow, or subscribe button so you never miss when NORML goes live. It's been a real pleasure. And as always, thanks so much for watching. Bye-bye.